So all the way from Lebanon, from El Hosn, from Mina El Hosn in Beirut, we're going to be graced and honored to talk to Khouloud about a very special topic that affects us, affects our social relationships, and affects our household relationships. We are going to speak about narcissism. Khouloud, could you please introduce yourself and what do you do for business?
Of course. Good evening. First of all, thank you for having me on the show. I'm really proud to be part of it. My name is Khouloud Al-Dimashki. I have a PhD in English language and literature. I have a 20-year plus experience in journalism, media, and I co-founded a cultural forum with my brother where we hold cultural events in Lebanon, particularly in the hometown where I'm living now, which is Dhur Shwer. We hosted lots of cultural events, book signings, artistic events, and many other things. I am also a teacher of the English language. I have taught all age groups, and I have my own YouTube channel, which gives videos on mental health, specifically on narcissism, because that's what I've been doing in my PhD studies and in my master thesis.
That is awesome. So let's start with the definition of narcissism. How would you see it?
Yes, of course, that's not my definition. It's the experts' definition. They say that narcissistic personality disorder is a mental condition where the person has an inflated sense of importance, of their own importance. They have troubled relationships with other people. They lack empathy, for example. They have a deep need for excessive attention. These people are actually charming at the beginning of a relationship, but later on you kind of discover that that's really a painful relationship. You would love to run away from it if you can.
Okay, so my question
It's
here,
a
like,
disorder after all. It's one of the among other disorders in cluster B.
okay, so my first question is like, how to cope with a narcissist in a relationship?
This question, I've been asked this question multiple times, and I've consulted, you can say, numerous resources to try to find an answer. They give, people techniques and tactics and strategies to cope with a narcissist, but to say that you can handle a narcissist perfectly well, it's really impossible. You can learn some strategies, like, for example, the gray rocking, like trying to set boundaries with them, try to, if they are family members, you cannot run away from them. You can probably accept the way they are, try to speak up, not be silent about their abusive behavior, try as much as possible to face their pushbacks, because these characters and personalities are really stubborn. They won't change, they won't admit being abusive, they gaslight you, they try to project their own insecurities onto you. So definitely it's really difficult to handle a narcissist, but after all, you should recognize that whenever you need help, you should seek help. Go to a professional when you feel that it's really too much for you. You can't handle a narcissist anymore. It's really advisable to seek professional help
So my
as
other
they're
question,
difficult.
you mentioned that they are difficult. Like, are we always able to detect that this person is a narcissist, or sometimes it can be hidden?
Of course it can. That's why actually it has become a pandemic. They've labeled it as a pandemic, just like the COVID-19. And I made a video on that. I said that, can you imagine life with two pandemics? I mean, that's really horrible. People couldn't, detect whether the person is narcissist or not for centuries, let me say. But definitely nowadays, thanks to the very hard work that these professionals are doing all over the world, they're trying to study this personality, this complicated personality. They're doing their best to give people the awareness they need in order to at least try to identify the features or the characteristics of a personality, a narcissistic personality disorder. Definitely, this would be done like on a personal level, but not. You shouldn't be sure. I mean, you shouldn't label people when you see some features. You shouldn't directly jump and say, "Wow, this is a narcissist." No, don't do that. When you see that there are some certain characteristics that might be red flags, go ahead and consult a specialist, an expert in this field, so that they can assure to you. The problem here, Noor, that the narcissist himself or herself wouldn't accept to go to a professional in order to be diagnosed for this disorder. But usually family members or people who have to deal with this narcissist, they usually seek help in order to make sure that their labeling of this personality is true. That's really advisable too.
So do
And
you
it
guys?
becomes really difficult also to answer the question accurately. It becomes really difficult to detect the covert narcissist because there are many types of narcissism. You know, one of them is the covert. This is the hidden one, the wolf in a sheep, you know, clothes, the one that tries to look nice and so good to you, but at the same time they are wolves actually. You know, they want their attention, they want their care all the time. It's their way or no way, or the highway if you want.
So my question here, like, do narcissists try to manipulate others?
Oh, absolutely, they do. That's what they do, actually. They are master manipulators. They try their best to weaken their victims, to destabilize their victims. They try to gain control all the time. They use many strategies like the silent treatment. They use gaslighting. They use love bombing whenever they feel they're gonna lose you, for example. It depends on how much you give to them, how much you're resistant to them. So they are very smart. They know how to, you know, read the other character, though they are no empaths at all. But at the same time, they are fantastic readers of people. They know your points of weaknesses and they prey on that. You know, they're very good predators.
So could you give us a little explanation of each strategy like narcissists use to manipulate others?
Absolutely. Narcissists use lots of tactics, and because, as I said, they are master manipulators, so they can, you know, handle you really well. They're good at reading their victims. They're good at, you know, draining the energy out of their victims. They're good at controlling their victims, manipulating them. So, for example, if they had to, they would like use gaslighting, which is mostly when they project their insecurities onto you, or they would say that I didn't do that, I didn't say that. It's you who feels this. It's you who has psychological issues. It's you who has, you know, insecurities. Who have insecurities. Sorry. So they gaslight you. They never admit that they have made any mistake. They actually try to blame you and lay all the guilt on you. You see, they try to make you look as the bad one, not them. They also use the breadcrumbing whenever you are really mad with them and you kind of try to set boundaries. You try to tell them that's enough, I've had enough. They see how much you need, you know. They call it breadcrumbing. Experts called it breadcrumbing. It's like whenever you have a dog and it's really hungry, you give the dog some bread. So they would do this to their victims.
Oh.
Like when they haven't been talking to you for a long time after they use the silent treatment, which is not talking to you, not interacting with you, trying to to ignore you, to disrespect you, to only use gestures with you. After that, you get mad with them, you try to set boundaries. So they use this strategy of breadcrumbing. They try to be kind to you. They would maybe ask you for some coffee. They would give you a certain compliment. You know, as the name says, breadcrumbing, very little comfort. Okay, and they know because you're starving emotionally, you will run to this bread and you will eat it. You will be so happy and you will feel that this is something hopeful. I'm getting, you know, better with this person. But unfortunately, that's only a strategy because the cycle is repeated over and over again. There is also another strategy that narcissists use, which is the love bombing. Narcissists are charming people. They know when to be charming, when to get you flowers, when to ask you out for dinners, when to be, romantic, and they know when not to be romantic, when to be very mean. So these strategies, they use them, and it's up to you whether you fall for them or you try to resist them, and you understand that these are only tactics. They're not really caring or loving or anything from that.
That is awesome. So let's talk about the coping strategies. Like, do the strategies different from coping with a parent rather than a brother or sister, other than a life partner?
Definitely. The family dynamics have a lot of details, and definitely when you're dealing with a sibling, that's very much different than dealing with your partner, for example, or with your boss. Definitely, the strategies would differ depending on each case. For example, if you're dealing with partner, you have kids, that's a case. If you have no kids, that's another case. It's easier to leave your partner when you have no kids, for example. Particularly in our communities, Noor, mothers have a lot of responsibilities and they feel guilty already. Whether they have a very good relationship with their husbands, they feel guilty, they're not doing enough. So how come when you're dealing with a narcissist, father, for example, I'm talking here as when the mother is the victim, but definitely it can be the father who's the victim. You know that, you know, a narcissist can be a man or a woman. So usually partners who have narcissistic partners, they suffer. They usually, it goes for years until they decide that they've had enough, you know, especially when there are kids. They will use, you know, these, you know, I have to pass things, I have to say okay for the sake of the kids and stuff like that. When it's a sibling, you can set boundaries, you know, easier, especially if you are adults. You can just, you know, break up and not talk to each other anymore. If it's your boss, you can change your work, for example, or at least you can tell them what to do and what not to do with you. If they don't like it, they can fire you and you will accept the consequences. Definitely strategies differ, Noor, depending on each case.
So my question here, like, let's say, does the intensity or does the effect of narcissism increase with people staying at home so much nowadays?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It does because, first of all, narcissists need attention all the time. They need to be the center of your world. And if you're depressed now, which is actually very understandable to be a bit down, to be depressed in these exceptional circumstances, narcissists wouldn't take that with, you know, lightheartedly. They wouldn't accept it. You have to give them the supply they need. They are people who feed on other people's attention, care, and, you know, significance that you give to them. Once this is not given to them, they get mad at you. So definitely, if you're stuck with a narcissist at home, God be with you.
Oh, my
We are
question.
gonna pray for you.
So my question here, like, what are the main weaknesses of narcissists? Of course, they cannot be like the stronger hand all the time.
They feel invincible, but they're not invincible. Actually, they have lots of points of weaknesses. Among them are their points of strength in their opinion. Like, well, if a person always demands attention, 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 and you stop giving them this attention, they're weak. They kind of panic, you know. For example, if this person is no empath and they see you in you know, giving empathy to others, they feel jealous. That's a point of weakness. For example, you can play on that. You can show them who they are not actually. They have points of weaknesses, definitely. Whenever you try to dump them or abandon them, they panic, they freak out, they try to, you know, to win you over again with many methods. They do their best not to lose. They hate losing, actually. Narcissists hate losing their victims because they need as many supplies as possible. Once you're a good supply, you will be in their life. The best point of weakness, you can say, I'm not going to be your supply anymore. Then they are going to dump you. So that's the best point of weakness that they have. Stop feeding them.
That is great. Okay, what are your main recommendations for people generally, let's say, to be healthier in these relationships?
The victims, you're asking me about the victims, how
Yes,
to be healthier.
yes.
Actually, believe me, I've had lots of emails and questions from people who are suffering mentally, psychologically, emotionally, physically. And I've talked in many of my videos about the effects that a narcissist might leave on us, the victims, like they may destroy you on all levels. So what tips can I give them? First of all, please love yourselves. Believe in yourselves. You should know the value. You already know the value. They don't know the value of themselves. That's why they try to blame you for that. Do not take the blame they are, you know, trying to lay on you. Try your best to resist them as much as possible without confrontations, altercations with them. Do your best to try not to play their game anymore. Resist the game. Narcissists, Noor, are you know, one player games. You know, they like to play their games alone. It's either you are with them in the game or they are, you're outside. They have their own clubs. You have to be with them. Other than that, you're out. So be out, for God's sake. Save yourself. Do not play their games. Refuse. Set boundaries and be firm with your boundaries.
That is
That's
great.
what I say. And seek help. Don't ever say that I can't seek help. Seek help.
So, ma'am, what would you like to say to the narcissists themselves?
Yes, absolutely. I always emphasize this idea in my videos that don't think that these people are, you know, monsters. They may look monsters to their victims because they have destroyed their lives, but these people have issues And because we are empaths, we're not narcissists, we should actually empathize with them. We should try to help them as much as possible. Those studies have shown that rarely are the narcissists that really get better. But if we can like help them in any way, especially if they are family members, we cannot actually, get rid of our family members. We love our families. We have to stick together. We can at least seek help ourselves in order to get the strategies and the methods that we can use in order to handle them. That's the best thing we can say. And please, if you are a narcissist, but you are moderate or mild situation, you're not on the top scale, go and seek help, please. You can learn some strategies and you can have better relationships with people. Life is so hard with you, narcissist. You have to understand that.
It has been more than awesome talking to you, Khouloud, from the coasts of the Mediterranean Sea. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much, Nour, for having me. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you.